Hi everyone, how are you? It's been a long time no speak. Last time I spoke to you guys was back in September, and I'd spoken to my doctor and she was going to refer me on to a private neurologist who specialised in COVID or vaccine related injuries, uh, neurological injuries. So my appointment with him, they said it was going to take a while, and my appointment was on the 24th of October. So it took like 4 weeks to get an appointment, which really wasn't. Rang me pretty quickly, actually. They rang me the same week as I spoke to my doctor. So she forwarded the referral on, and they got back to me pretty quick and said, look, it'll be the 24th. Can you make that? I'm like, yeah, no drama at all. So I went to see him on on the Monday, which was only like last week because it's Melbourne Cup week here and absolutely freezing. I'm in my dining room inside because not only is it freezing, but I can't hear myself think with the rain on the roof, and the internet is so bad during the winter down here that I can't stream school or anything. It's terrible. So I'm in my dining room. So it might be a bit of an echo, but at least it's a lot quieter than in the office. So it's Melbourne Cup week. It's what is it, Wednesday? No, it's not. It's Thursday. Yeah, okay. And I went and saw him, and so he seems to think we went over a few general things about what happened. We talked about encephalitis and what had happened and what the process is for encephalitis. So the brain swelling and whatever. So seizures are acute during that process. So if you have an encephalitis episode, you can have primary and secondary type seizures. So the primary is because the brain is swelling, and the secondary has come from somewhere else and then hit the brain. And affected the brain. So he said epilepsy is, although rare, can be present after, because your brain receives damage when your brain swells like it did. So it is quite, he said, although rare, it can happen. Like the statistics in the USA is like 50% of people that have encephalitis in the next 20 years will have seizures of some description. That's just what happens. So yeah, and when he says things like, oh, it's rare, I'm like, yeah, and it's rare that I would have this encephalitis episode, out of the blue. And just after I had the Pfizer vaccine, which they said even if it was caused by the Pfizer vaccine, it's 1 in a billion, blah, 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 blah. So, when they say rare, I always think me. Because it just seems to happen. It's bloody rare, but it'd be me. So he said what we need to do is some tests, and had to book in for a EEG. And I thought, because he said, oh, look, I don't know how long it's going to take you to get in because it's pretty busy. So, and it's private too, so you got to pay for it. So we don't know when the booking is. So I was literally leaving the house to go to work on Friday afternoon last week. And I was having a quick word to my other half as I was going out the door. He'd finished work and I was going to work. And they rang. They rang at 3:15. And I was like, shit. So I had to take the thing. I was supposed to be at work at 3:30. So it takes me 25 minutes to get there. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm going to be so late. So anyway, they said, look, can you come in tomorrow, Saturday? Can you come in tomorrow at 11 o'clock? Have your EEG. And before I knew what I was thinking about, I'd say, yeah, I'll be there. be there with bells on. No worries. What do I have to do? Do I have to fast or whatever? She said, no, you just need to make sure that you've got no hairspray or gel or product in your hair. Which I was trying to remember back to the last time I had one, and I just stuck a thing on my head, like a net. It was like a wig net, and they chucked it on your head with all these sensors. It was weird. This time it's like a proper one, and they like stuck the things to your skin. So yuck. On Saturday, coming home, it was like this clumpy jelly thing, and it was in like Berwick, it was 48 minutes to get from our house to where the appointment was. Melbourne Cup weekend, so everyone's on holidays, everyone's driving around, and it's shit weather at that. So I was like, oh my God. Yeah, so we had to make a race appointment. So, of course, they don't tell you what the results are right there and then. They've got to go through the neurologist. But yeah, she did test me for epilepsy, put lights in front. That was so annoying. I'm glad I'm not claustrophobic, because that would be like, all I wanted to do, because you had to lay there with your eyes closed while she flashed lights on there, to try and trigger a brain response, which I guess that's what it does. But so simulator type of spasm. So the last lot of lights were like red and white and stuff, and they were really flashy, but they were like, the lights were sort of going like that, like exploding in your face. And of course, all I wanted to do was open my eyes and push it out of my face, like it was like in Space Invader, like invading my space. It's like, oh my God. But I just had to lie there and it's like, oh God, I hope this is over soon. I'm just so over it. And yeah, so she said, oh, it's good. You didn't move. You didn't open your eyes. You didn't throw up. You didn't get dizzy. You didn't, and I'm like, yeah, I just wanted it out of my face. Like it was just in my face, and I don't like shit right in my face. So yeah, so that was all done. I was just waiting now to hear back from the neurologist, because he'll be ringing me with results of that. And depending on the results of that's what's going to happen. So if the result comes back that I don't have epilepsy, they cannot just take me straight off the Keppra, because then I can be it's pretty powerful and addictive. And he was a bit shocked at the actual quantity that I was on, and he couldn't believe that I just didn't get called back. And I just was nothing was followed up from the hospital. So he's just like, oh my God, I can't believe you've waited that long. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a bit over it. I'm like, yeah, you've been on it for a while, and you've been on big quantities, and so he said he's going to wean me off it, and he's going to try and put me onto another type of drug and then wean off that one, so that this one's not so severe. That will be up to 6 months where I'll be in the weaning process, and I will not be able to drive my car. My license will be taken away, because in case I do have a fit, and I mean, you don't want to be in charge of a heavy vehicle or a truck or anything like that. Not that I'm driving a truck. I do feel like it. It's a Land Rover Discovery. So it does feel like a bit of a tank. And I'm guessing I could do some damage with it if I was out of control. So he doesn't want me driving for up to 6 months. And then they write a report up, and I just go to the big roads and get my license back. It's out of my control. It's not like I voluntarily have to hand it in. It is just done, and I have no say. So that's what happens if I'm not epileptic. And then hopefully everything goes fine, move on with my life as if nothing's happened. I will be on the blood pressure medication for forever probably, but I'm not really worried about that, because that doesn't cause me any problem at all. And I do have to de-stress, apparently. I'm very stressed out. So that's what happens if they find that the test results come back with none of that. If they come back and say, yeah, actually you have had mild epilepsy, And that would be the reason why some days you wake up in a sweat, or because that's been happening, or you don't remember any information from the day before or conversations you had, is because of a mild seizure that I've had. If they find that's the case, then I will be unable to drive for up to 12 months minimum. Right. So they'll try and stabilise me, and then you have to go 12 months without a fit or an episode of epilepsy, and close monitoring, and they will be changing my drugs, probably a high dose of another drug, and see how that affects my mental stability. And they'll go from there. So not looking real bright. It's not looking. So I'll be walking for a minimum of 6 months, which shits me. Because where I live, there's only a bus. There is no trains. There is no trams. There is no, there's no, or the taxi system is even pretty crap. So I have to Uber everywhere. I think we've got like 7 or 8 taxis down on the peninsula. So good luck getting one of them. And I don't want to be paying a fortune to go to friggin' work. So I'll just be catching the friggin' bus. But if I want to go up to town, like just to get to the train station is a 2-hour bus trip. And it's not that far, it's like 25k, but they go in and out all the suburbs and crap all the way up there, so it's 2 hours. So I was just like, oh God, what a bastard. Not to mention the fact of paying for a car that's sitting in the driveway and keeping registered. But anyway, look, I would rather be walking or on the bus for 6 months than have to be on this shit for an extended period of time, because it's still me head in. The drugs are terrible. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research into other anesthesia medications that are out there. I'm sure there's bloody a huge gamut of them. Probably some made by Pfizer. That's what I want, just to contribute to me issues. Yeah, so I sort of like, well, speaking to my other half about it, I'm like, well, I really don't want to be working. If I have to catch the bus to work, like, I don't want to be working down there anyway. I'll see, I have to find something a bit closer. But it obviously won't be in aged care, and it won't be in health. And I will need to have a car to be in health. Like, I will need to have transport, because I can't rely on the bus system, especially with public holidays. It's shit. The timetable's all up to shit, and weekends, it's terrible. So anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Who knows what I'm going to be doing. But yeah, I'm a bit gutted that was the outcome, but you just got to roll with punches. That's what it is. So other than that, that's where we're at. I'm just sitting around waiting for me doctor to give me a ring. And they're all on holidays because Melbourne Cup weekend, and everyone pisses off Melbourne Cup weekend. So I wasn't surprised I'm not hearing back from him straight away. But I just couldn't believe it. I said that to the other half. I mean, oh my God, since going private, things have, like, I had the appointment on the Monday where I drove up and saw him, and then I had the ECG on the Saturday. Like, it's like, let's get on top of it. I'm just like, oh my God. So yeah, so I'm expecting a phone call either today or tomorrow as to set me up with another appointment to go in and see him about the results, because he won't tell you over the phone if you want to see me again. He may even want me to go and get blood tests or something else. I don't know. So yeah, that's where we're at. Other than that, not much more is happening. After I spoke to you, we had school holidays. We had my daughter's birthday. We had grand final weekend. Not that my footy team are in it. Yeah, so Richmond not in it. My oldest daughter's a Cats fan, so she was happy. But she's a bit like me. Only game you watch a year is grand final. And then if your team wins, you're like, ooh, good on ya. But yeah, I'll sing Away from Tigerland all day. But yeah, the other half just cracks the shits. Because he's like, oh, well, watch it. And I know my team is on the ladder at any given time. You don't watch a game all year and crack it, you go off when they win. And I'm like, well, I'm a fair weather supporter. What do you want me to say? And so is my daughter. In actual fact, she doesn't even watch the game. She just comes out of her room after watching YouTube and says, oh, Cats won. Yay. My team won. Dad, suck a dick. So it's like, oh, okay. And then next weekend was Bathurst. So, and I watched that, which I actually was really, I had to go to work too. It sucked. But I was really excited this year because it's been wet. And again, I don't watch any other car racing. I'm not a car racing enthusiast. In actual fact, I'm not even a car enthusiast. I get in my car, it takes me to work and to the shops. And I put fuel and water in it. No, actually, I don't put water in it. I get the other half to do that. I put fuel in it and he checks the oil and water and makes sure everything's going well. But yeah, so I'm not big on cars, but I've always loved Bathurst. It's a enduro race and grew up with being a Ford fan, so I've just lost half my subscribers now. They're all Holden. They've all turned. So yeah, and I thought this year was going to be awesome because not only was there floods and shit up in Queensland and New South Wales, but it was wet, and a wet track is what the race is all about as far as I'm concerned. It's about the drivers, not about how technically advanced their cars are, which normally that's what they are like on a dry track because the cars are not stock standard. You can't just walk into the Ford dealership and say, I want that Mustang, and because I saw it going around Bathurst. They're like, yeah, that's not the same car. So, yeah, I know they have to make some sort of safety modifications and stuff to it, but, they're all runs off technical shit, and their teams are all sitting on headsets talking to the driver, telling them how quick they're doing and all that other stuff, how their fuel's going, la, 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 la. So, really, it won't be long until they're just all remote control, sitting in their caravan and just driving it around. With the pit crew sitting out there ready to change the tyres every couple of laps. So, yeah, this year I thought this is going to be a driver's race because it's going to be wet and they need the driver. And that shows the difference between an experienced driver and one that's not so experienced but just has a lot of money behind them so they can get a car that is super duper and quick. So, yeah, I was really excited. But after 20 laps, and they've done one lap without the safety car, and Ford were getting hammered, I was like, yeah, nah, bit over this shit now. But, yeah, turn it off. I'm done. Stick a fork in me. Yeah, so there was that, and then what was the next after that? Balmer Cup. So it's just been go in this house. It's just been non-stop. So, yeah. So we've had a few things happen and nothing much really other than that. So I will keep you up to date when I know a little bit more about what's going on. I have been watching, what have I been watching? YouTube channel something it's about the European government cracking the shits with Pfizer because they released the Pfizer contract that they made for the thing with all the research data and everything in it, and it was all redacted. And they only had like one sentence that out of like 30,000 pages one little sentence. So yeah, I've been watching that with great interest because the European government are cracking it because they've discovered that they've got so many people with long-term injuries and deaths related to the vaccination program, and they want to see what the hell they signed up for. But in Australia, that's not going to happen because our government don't keep data or records on any of that shit. They don't want to know if you're sick. They don't care. And they don't keep logs. And they're all in bed with... and it doesn't matter which government. I mean, we've got a election coming up state election in Victoria coming up on the 29th of this month. One team's as bad as the other, but as long as we get rid of Dan, I'll be happy. I just think he's in bed with it. Like, and it makes me wonder too, because this dude not only is a megalomaniac, but he had a really, really bad fall during the pandemic. Like he fell down some stairs and hurt his back and spine and stuff. And he was in hospital for a long time. And there was all these theories about and rumours about how what had happened, and it hadn't happened like he said it had happened, and blah, 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 blah. But I'm wondering now, because he was on the big push for everyone to be vaccinated, I'm just wondering now if maybe he got dizzy because of the vaccination and fell down the stairs. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I wasn't there. But because he was so goddamn stubborn and saying, you know, everyone, the least you can do is get vaccinated and save the planet. You know, that's not the point of vaccination, mate. The point of vaccination is to protect the hospital system and yourself, apparently. It doesn't stop anyone from getting it. It doesn't stop you from giving it to people. It doesn't stop shit. In actual fact, it doesn't even stop you getting it. So, yeah. So anyway, that was just my thoughts. So I just want him gone. He killed 900 people because he screwed up the friggin' hospital, the quarantine system in the hotels, and it got out. And then he dumped it all on his chief health advisor, and he gave us these ridiculous lockdowns that were so strict and stringent, and yet the rest of Victoria didn't have any problem. Like, I'd be ringing my dad in central Victoria, Western Victoria, and he's like, oh, I'm just heading off to Bunnings. I'm like, shit, Dad, we can't even click and collect down here. I'm like, just going to Bunnings is not an essential service. So we can't even click and collect. You know, and he's like, oh, well, you go to the supermarket. And I'm like, that's the only place you can really go. Oh, and the chemist and the doctor. To work if you've got a permit. You know, go for a walk, but don't go 5K. You can go to the beach, but don't stand there too long. Got to walk. You can't stand and look. Anyway, so I've had me rant. Move on. So let's hope that Dan doesn't get in. Dirty Dan. Dictator Dan. Let's hope he doesn't get in. So, but again, like I said, they're all as bad as each other. And again, it's not going to change anything. We're not going to, anyone that's got any injuries or Pfizer related or even AstraZeneca related for health issues are not going to get recognised. They're not going to get compensations. They're not going to get their hospital bills paid for. They're not going to get follow-up medical health. They're not going to get any, you know, cancelling or anything for free. But just being recognised and going, yeah, you know what? That did happen to you. It absolutely caused your problems. Sometimes that's all people want to hear. Just go, okay, we got this, wasn't our fault. We're angry about it, we're hurt, but we're trying to repair the damage to our family and everything else. Let's just move on. Sometimes just knowing is enough. And that's what I want. That's for me, that's all I want. But then in saying that, I haven't lost my job because of, well, could have, but I didn't. Didn't lose my job because of it. I just was unemployed for a while. It didn't really affect my life apart from these medications that I've had to take. That's what's causing the problems. So it was a wake-up call. But there are people out there that are way worse off with the injuries than I am, who are still suffering and getting no recognition and no help. And any help they are getting, they get paying through the arse for, or waiting for some fucking bullshit, ridiculous time to get in to see somebody. It's it's frustrating and it's sad. And like I said, sometimes all people want to hear is this happened, it was beyond your control, and it's real, and it happened to you, and that's what's caused it. That's all people want to hear sometimes. For me, that's all I want to hear. So I can go, fine, cool, let's move on. Now we know that's what it is. I haven't got this, and this, and I can come off all of these, and I can avoid it or anything like that. And you can give me a bit of paper saying, oh no, she's allergic to Pfizer, no COVID vaccination with the mRNA technology in it. Well, then that's fine. So that if they bring out a bowl of vaccination and it's based on mRNA type material, proteins, then I can say, well, I can't take that. I have to have another one. Because a bowl is going to be the next thing that comes out. I've seen that all over. So I've been watching shit on YouTube about the European vaccination program and how they're trying to get some answers. And good luck with that. And it's just like, why? Why is it so difficult to get these results? If the government said, yeah, we understand you haven't done enough testing, and based on what you've got there, well, you know, and all I can think of is that it's showing that the risk of getting a vaccination was higher than the risk of dying of COVID. And if that's the case, then hello, the whole of the world should be up in arms, especially those poor people who are forced to make their little kiddies have them. So, anyway. All right, I'm going to love you and leave you. Catch you for 25 minutes, so that's bloody long enough. Other than that, got nothing news. I've got no news. It's like I said, no news is good news. I'm still waiting to hear back, and when I have a final thing, I'll get back on. But other than that, everything's travelling along real well and getting ready now for Christmas. Oh my God, it's only like 8 weeks away. So, okay, I'll catch up with you later, guys. Anybody got any questions or want me to answer something, just chuck on a doodad. But I'm alive and well. I'm living in Melbourne. So there you go. I'll see you all later. Bye, guys.